everyone, my name is Emma. This is Emma Rosen Books, and today I wanted to do a bit of a chatty video because I've been thinking about my book buying habits and I wanted to kind of discuss them with you and see what you think and how you buy books and all of that stuff. Also, the family are out so I can film with my bookcase, which is always exciting, instead of hiding upstairs. So, yeah, I've been thinking about the books that I buy, sort of reflecting, I suppose, on the time I've been making videos about books, about reading, about writing and all that stuff, and it just makes you reflect on your consumption of books. So, first of all, I really don't buy many books. I don't buy many new books. I mostly buy my books secondhand. And it's something I feel very conflicted about. So I probably buy maybe 5 new books a year, maybe. I mean, I buy books as gifts for other people, and I buy books as gifts for my children. But in terms of actually buying books for myself, yeah, probably actual new books, I really don't buy many. The majority of my books I buy secondhand, so either from charity shops or online from maybe eBay or maybe like Amazon secondhand sellers or maybe on Facebook Marketplace. I also get books from book swaps and I use the library. So those are my predominant ways of getting books. And basically, I just really don't like spending money. It's kind of a mindset thing. So me and my husband are very careful with money. We both kind of subscribe to a financial independence lifestyle. Look up FI or FIRE, the financially independent retire early way of thinking, because I find it really interesting. And if you want me to talk about that more, then I will do. But we both believe in keeping all our costs down so that we have quite a relaxed attitude to money worries, because we always have like a buffer to deal with things. And I grew up without a great deal of money, so being able to not worry about money is really important to me. So that's why we're like that. It's not necessarily that we don't have money to spend on things, we just choose to use our money wisely, is the best way I can explain it. The other side of things is that neither of us like waste. Me from a more environmental standpoint, he probably less so, but for him, he just genuinely just doesn't like things to be wasted. But yeah, for me, it's like a bigger picture reason why, if that makes sense. So in everything, all aspects of our life, we don't buy an awful lot of new things at all. Our furniture is secondhand. Our cars are secondhand, just everything. We'll always try and look for something that's pre-loved or used or however you want to phrase it, so that we're putting use into something that, somebody else doesn't want, and in the bargain also usually getting a cheaper deal. It's just our mindset with everything. So of course that's then going to bleed into the way I consume books. So previous to having a bookish YouTube channel and Instagram and all of that, I just read whatever, I would pick up books here and there. People might buy me books as gifts, again, use the library, all of that. I tended not to read as much as I do now, because now having that kind of accountability has definitely made me read more and be more consistent, instead of taking like big gaps and just reading here and there and being quite relaxed about it. That kind of meant that when I came into YouTube, I really didn't know what kind of books I liked, because I just kind of read whatever. And over my time on Bookstagram, BookTube, bookish social media, I've definitely started to realise what books I actually like, because as I'm having to actively review them instead of just reading a thing and moving on, and as I'm reading more volume of stuff, then I realise what books I enjoy. And I have also realised that my tendency to buy books secondhand means that I'm not always buying the best books for me, sorry if you can hear rattling, it's really windy and my doors, I've tried, I've tried, the doors are rattling. Sorry, basically if I leave them open then you can hear loads of noise, so I'm sorry. So what the thing about buying books secondhand is that in general, I'm not going with a specific book that I want. If you buy a book new, you want a book, you buy it, you know? If you buy a book secondhand, for me generally, because for the most part I buy those books in charity shops, I'll just pop into a charity shop, I'll see some books I've heard of that I thought sounded okay, and I'll buy them. Because also there's that thing of, well, it's only £1 or £2 or however much, so yeah, I'll give that a go. And I'm not specifically looking for certain books, although sometimes with books, if there's something I really want to read, I will look for it secondhand on eBay or whatever. In general, my secondhand buying is more just, nah, what do I fancy? Oh yeah, I'll give that a go. Which means that I'm really not reading the books that I would love to read, which also affects the kind of the quality of what I am reviewing, as in I'm not reading the books that I'm really passionate about. I've not got like a real curated genre that I can say that I read, because I just kind of read books. Another thing about all of that actually that I didn't mention is that we also have a kind of a bit of a minimalist mindset. We're not minimalists, like we're absolutely not. We've got 3 kids. You can of course be a minimalist with kids, but I mean the house is full of things. But we have the attitude of, if we're not going to use something, we pass it on. We try not to buy stuff that we're not going to use. You know, our possessions are things that we genuinely love or genuinely use. We try to have that kind of mindset about stuff. And books are the same. I mean, this is most of my books. I say this, my children have got bookcases the same size in their bedrooms because I'm a sucker for a kid's book. But that's my books, you know. And I know for a lot of people on bookish social media, they've got, you know, whole rooms. Dame Cobain, how many books, if you're watching this, you've got a lot of books. So, you know, other people like to keep all of their books, and that seems more common than my attitude of passing them on. But the thing is, if you're the kind of person like me who doesn't really keep them, then for me that means I don't want to invest in them, because I will pay more money for something that I'm going to keep and use. Because if I keep something, it's because I'm going to use it more. So you might notice that at least half of my books are non-fiction. You actually can't see most of them because they're below the camera, but my bottom half of my bookcase is mostly non-fiction, not entirely, and the top half is fiction. So for me, if I have, I'm really conscious of the fact that here, I don't know, yeah, most of it is non-fiction. If it's a non-fiction book, I'm usually buying it because it's research for something, or it's going to be something that I'm going to dip into again. It might be a book about parenting, or it might be about the environment, or about animals, or it might be a craft type thing, and it's something I'm going to use. So I don't mind buying it new because I'm going to use it over and over again, and I want it to be in good condition because it's going to get used. And so I'm much more likely to buy a new, there's a pencil sharpener over there, to buy a new non-fiction book than I am to buy a new fiction book, because I do tend to just read those and pass them on to charity shops. The ones I keep are ones like my Pratchetts I'm really fond of because they're kind of nostalgic for me, like kids classics, and actually there's a few in here that I will probably pull out, and they're really only placeholders for books that I'll end up swapping them for, so I just didn't want bare shelves, if that makes sense. So yeah, because I don't really keep them, it's another reason why I like to get them secondhand, because I'm just going to read it and pass it on anyway. The issue with that, like I said, is the whole thing that I feel like I don't really curate what I read, and well, you know, that means that I spend time reading things. You know, it almost feels like there's an infinite number of books, and so if in my life I'm only going to be able to read a finite number of them, then those should be ones that I want to read, like specifically want to read. The other side of things is that I'm a writer, and as a writer, I'm saying to people, please buy my books. This is my business, please buy them, because, and please do, because you know, that's how I make my money, is through selling books. To then turn around and say, yeah, but I don't buy books, or I don't buy many books, it seems like this massive, like, hypocritical thing of like, please buy my books, but it's not, I don't buy, it's like, although actually I do buy children's books and breastfeeding books, which are the genres I write in, but I find myself in a bit of a quandary about it. The other thing as well is that I'm an indie writer and I really want to support indies. And in general, you're not going to find indie books secondhand very easily because they don't sell as many copies. So you're not going to stumble across one in your charity shop and think, oh yeah, I really wanted to read that, because you tend to only do that if you live in the same area as the writer lives and somebody has bought it and passed it, or you just don't get them around. You know, you might be able to buy it secondhand online, possibly, but you're not as likely to stumble across an indie book. You have to, if you want an indie book, really you have to specifically go out of your way to buy it. And often indie books are more expensive. So yeah, I find myself, and you're not going to get deals as well, like you might do with other books. If you pick them up in certain places, you might get a deal on it. You're not going to get that with an indie book, it's just not going to happen. So again, you know, I really want to support it, but my spending habits are that I don't really buy new books. So I find myself in this real, I haven't found the spot that works yet. And what I've decided, because I bought myself 2 books the other day and I was very excited, and they were books that I've really wanted to read for a long time. And I thought to myself, you know what, I haven't bought magazines in, probably a year. I've gone nowhere, I've done nothing for months, as we all have. So, you know what, I'm going to buy myself a couple of books that I've been wanting to read for ages. And I've just started reading one of them and it's brilliant. And I thought to myself, you know, I should do this because really, you're just paying for entertainment. You're paying for that, you know, 10, 15 hours or whatever it is that you're going to spend reading that book and actually really enjoying it. And for me, anything I read is then feeding back into my own writing, or it is research for something, or so really, you know, I should buy books. So I think what I'm going to do going forward is why am I plagued by these noisy things when I'm trying to film? I'm going to try and buy more books, like be specific about what I want to read, and go out and find those books and buy them and read them. And I'm still going to buy a lot of secondhand books, I'm not going to lie, but be more curated and less likely to just kind of pick up anything that I think I'll read. Because I just think it will make my reviewing more kind of cohesive. It is obviously more enjoyable for me to read books that I've specifically been wanting to read. And it's feeding into an industry that I'm part of. So yeah, I think I am going to have to buy more books, and when I'm buying secondhand, be a bit more intentional about it. But I mean, really, my habits are still going to be that I will pay new for a book I'm going to keep, but not for one that I think I might not keep, because that's just the way I am. But I'm really curious about what other people do, because I know that a lot of people, you know, you'll just go to a shop and see what books you fancy and buy them, and maybe you've got a book budget and you just spend that budget, and you know, maybe that's the way for some people. I don't set a budget, I just kind of spend as little as I can. And I'm curious how you feel. If you're a writer, how do you feel about buying books? Because it's an odd one, a really odd one. And I guess, yeah, I think I need to revise what I'm doing. I think I need to buy more books. It's my conclusion. But yeah, let me know. Are you somebody who has a book buying budget? Are you somebody that buys all your books new? Do you buy them all secondhand? Do you keep all your books, or do you pass them on? Where do you buy your books predominantly? I'm just really interested in like book buying habits, and especially for bookish people where, you know, obviously it's a big part of your life. What's your habits? I'm really interested. Please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a chat with you about all of this and let me know what you think. And yeah, please like this video if you enjoyed it. and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so that you can see more videos, all of my videos in the future, and I'll be back next week for another video. Take care.